Okay, here we are going to continue our finishing contouring on these two straight edges. So it seems like your rough contouring. We now going to cut these two edges to size. So the dimension that we are interested of is 57.6, tolerance 0 to negative 0.05. So we go to the Mastercam, and now we, same like a previous, we will copy and paste the operation 3. So before that, invisible the toolpath, copy operation 3 and paste. Okay, so to make sure this is the correct one, visible the toolpath. Okay, so we are going to cut down these two edges to size. So move on to click on the parameters for operation 5. We go to the tool. For finishing, in this case, we are still using T3, which is 16 flat end mill. Right click, reinitialize. Feed rate and spindle speed should be updated. Since we are using the same cutter for operation 4 as well, which is T3, in this case, for these particular operations, we will like to do force to change as well. So force to change, this means that before you continue from T4, operation 4 to the operation 5, the cutter will return to home before start. In this case, it will also allow us to do the dimension control on the operation 4 before we continue with the operation 5. So I think this is a good approach where you are able to full control on how do you want your operations to be. So next you go to the cut parameter, change the compensation type to control since it's a finishing operation, and stock to leave on wall is 0. For the depth cut is a single pass, so uncheck the depth cut, make sure it is one pass. And for let in, let out, previously in this case we are using tangent in and tangent out. So but unfortunately in this case, since we are changing our compensation type to control, the tangent approach might not be ideal for this case. So in this case, we are going to change to perpendicular. So this is only applied when we are doing finishing cut for control compensation. So under the let-in, we will change to perpendicular, 100% of the length and 0 radius. So copy the entry and to the exit. So for this case, because when we start to cut from this point, means the perpendicular will also be start at this point. As the cutter is round, so if you start at this point, the cutter might not be able to produce a clean cut at this edge. So to prevent this happen, we need to have some extension from here to further this direction. So to do this, it's just same like you're turning, you extend the length. So here is the adjust start contour. You just check this. Length, you extend. So extend 75% of the diameter, which is 12 mm. So for this case, if you are using this method, you will be able to guarantee that your cutter will be producing a clean edges when it's machined out this straight edge. So copy the left to the right as well. Don't forget the exit. Okay, so then you will able to machine this one completely. Okay, so now move to the multi-passes. In the previous roughing, we do activate the multi-passes because we need to cover up the whole surface here. But just imagine we do not control the floor. So it's already two sides. So in this case, this is not necessary to recut again. So we just uncheck the multi-passes. Then as for the linking parameter, it should not be any change here because it's the same profile that we are cutting. And of course, in terms of the depth, it's also cut down to -4. Okay, so click OK. And same message come out. It's okay, just click OK. And you press the regenerate button. Okay, so now I move to the top view so to let you see clearer. Okay, so go to the back plot. again, and I move to step by step. So you can see the cutter move in this direction instead of this direction. So this means that the cutter now is commanded as a perpendicular. So it will perpendicular in and with an extension of 75%. So this is the 75% that we are talking about. Extend the length. Okay, if you don't do this, what will happen is the cutter will start at this point instead. Okay, so now the cutter will continue to cut down, and of course same for the exit, it's also extend to 75%, and it will move perpendicularly and return to home. Okay, of course in this case it will continue to cut the opposite side. Okay, so I think this is for the finishing cut. Okay, if you are following the correct steps, the timing or even the cycle time as well as the feed path, it shouldn't be off a lot. Okay, unless you are not keeping the same path or even never update the cutting speed or the feed rate, then there will be a problem when you are calculating the cycle time. Okay, so to see the entire operations, you can click on the two path group 1 again, and you click on the variable selected operations, and you click the whole operations together and double check whether this part is being machined completely. So if it's two sides, so you can see that this workpiece is something look like this. Okay, so what you can notice here, this is where the cutter let in then let out. So because of the overlap, slightly 1 mm overlap, so there will be a very small mark appear on the surface. Okay, so I think this is the very good estimations or even some expectations that you are having before you go down to the practical to see what is the actual outcome of this machine workpiece. Okay, so if you are fine with it, then we will move on to the next one. Okay, which is we now only left the 4 threaded holes. The rest of the profile is already being machined. So now we will go through the 4 threaded hole in the next 3 videos.